Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze how Man United's fullbacks played a key role in their win over Aston Villa. When we break down the game and we do look at the board, we have Manchester United in a 4-2-3-1 and Aston Villa in more of a 4-4-1-1 with Grealish just in behind Watkins. What we ended up seeing from Villa was that they did drop off into two banks of four and they weren't focused on pressing the fullbacks in Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire. We witnessed Watkins and Grealish drop off the center backs and look to block off the passing lanes into Fred and McTominay, and that often forced Fred to shift out into the inside left position towards the left of Maguire to get on the ball. What we also saw from United was that their front four was interchangeable, and we ended up seeing them rotate positions throughout that game, whether it be Pogba or Bruno Fernandes out in the wider areas. At times we saw Rashford playing from the right, and Martial even moved out into wider areas as well. Bruno Fernandes in particular often moved out into those wider areas because he couldn't receive the ball in between the lines due to Villa's compact shape, and that ultimately limited his impact on the game. So ultimately, with Aston Villa's shape, you see them blocking out Fred and McTominay from building from deeper positions. Pogba's out in a wider area, so Cash is able to stick towards him. And then you have Bruno Fernandes with no space in between the lines, so he has to drop off deeper. And ultimately, you have Martial against the center backs, and then you're depending on Rashford to beat target in 1v1 situations. So when we briefly focus on how United were able to get into good attacking positions, what should be said was that they did replicate what we saw from Chelsea earlier on this week when they had Ben Chilwell in particular constantly pushing forward beyond El Ghazi or Bertrand Traore to get into advanced positions, and we saw that with Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka here as they created some of United's best chances. When we look to the first example, it's Rashford ahead of El Ghazi and Target in the right channel, with Wan-Bissaka running off the Aston Villa left back into right half space. Wan-Bissaka receives Rashford's splitting pass in right half space to pull out Douglas Luiz, and that's when you see Pogba running across Traore into a goal scoring position as Martial is occupied by both Aston Villa center backs. However, Pogba makes the wrong decision and opts to dummy the ball, which results in Fred firing a first-time effort over the net. Shortly after that, it's Harry Maguire bypassing Watkins' late press, and he clips a diagonal ball over Traore for Shaw breaking freely down the left channel as Bruno Fernandes occupies Cash. When Shaw receives the ball, we could see Traore behind the play, which forces Cash towards the ball and frees up space for Bruno Fernandes to attack in left half space. Shaw ends up splitting Traore and Cash to place Bruno Fernandes in a legitimate goal-scoring position as Konsa retreats into the box opposed to stepping towards the ball, and that's when you see Bruno Fernandes turn before Konsa can step and Traore can recover, but he bends his effort wide of the net. In the build-up to United's opener, it's Pogba nodding the ball into the path of Rashford, dropping deeper to pull out target, and that's where you see Wan-Bissaka running beyond El Ghazi and McGinn. Rashford flicks the ball beyond target into the path of Wan-Bissaka with Mings holding his position, and that's where we see El Ghazi and McGinn attempting to track back. At this moment, Wan-Bissaka is being closed by McGinn with Martial as his sole option in the box, despite being surrounded by three Aston Villa defenders. Granted, Bruno Fernandes is making a late run at the far post. Wan-Bissaka's delivery towards the front post is probably the wrong option here, but Mings fails to clear the tame cross and Konsa doesn't track the Martial run because he expects his center back partner to clear his lines, and that's how United take the lead. And even when we look to the second half, it consisted of Shaw consistently bypassing Traore to get into attacking positions down the left side, and he was combining with United's attacking quartet. In the build-up to the throw-in that results in United winning a penalty, we witness Shaw receiving Maguire's diagonal ball in Aston Villa's third, which pulls out Cash, and we could see Pogba running beyond Traore towards the box. Shaw slides the ball across Cash for Pogba in left half space, and although Traore does well to track back, Pogba is still in a good position to pull the ball back for Martial, who is unmarked in Villa's box ahead of Konsa. While Pogba's pullback does bypass Traore, Cash, and Konsa, Martial still fails to get a shot on goal due to Douglas Luiz's recovery step-in. However, although Douglas Luiz does clear his lines, this puts United in a position to win the penalty. And then we witnessed United waste chances to kill off the game. First, it was Martial occupying both Cash and Douglas Luiz towards the edge of the box, with an unmarked Shaw prepared to make a run into left half space. When Martial plays the ball to Shaw, it pulls Cash out to attempt to block a pullback, while Douglas Luiz tracks the run of Martial into the box. But what also should be highlighted here is Pogba brushing off Mings to create separation ahead of the 6-yard box. Shaw ends up pulling the ball back across Cash, Douglas Luiz, and Martial to find Pogba in space ahead of Mings, but his first time effort flies inches wide of the net. And when we look to one final example, it's Bruno Fernandes receiving the ball from Pogba ahead of Cash, and he locates Shaw's run off a ball-watching Traore. When Bruno Fernandes splits Traore and Cash for Shaw in left half space, the United left back has Martial making a run into the 6-yard box between the Aston Villa center backs, and he has to play a first-time pass here. However, Shaw hesitates and takes a touch towards the byline that enables Traore to apply pressure with a sliding tackle and allows Konsa and Mings to get into a good position to block the pullback for Martial, and that kills the play. Hi everybody, thanks for watching, and subscribe here for your latest tactical analysis and daily commentary on the InnerViews show. And if that wasn't enough, don't forget you could find more organic, unfiltered soccer/football analysis on the InnerViews podcast, the best soccer/football podcast in the world, available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and any Android apps on your Android devices.